Well, that was an interesting week of football. It's time to try to sort things out after the chaos and look at the AFC playoff race going into week 6. If you are a fantasy football addict and want to know exactly where your team stands before unloading your fab or have all sorts of geeky data to share with the league, check out the Playoff Computer app on the Play Store. It is being used here for the base of this analysis. And fair warning, this is a results-driven mathematical analysis done without any preconceived bias towards supposedly good or bad teams. The calculations are based on actual results so far, tiebreaker positioning, and the nuances of the remaining schedule. With that being said, the team in the AFC with the highest statistical chance to make the playoffs is no surprise. The only remaining undefeated team in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs. After dispatching the Saints, they remain 2 ahead of the Broncos in the AFC West with 1 division win and 3 conference wins, not to mention hoarding all the wins in the otherwise win-deficient AFC. They now have a 62% mathematical chance to win the division and almost 9 out of 10 odds to make the playoff. Computer, as of now, puts a win target for them to have a reasonable chance to take the division of 10, with 11 being considered a very safe mark. For the wild card in the AFC, the current guesstimate is 9 wins being good enough, with even 8 having a not too bad of a chance, meaning the Chiefs are likely more than halfway home to making the playoffs again. They go on their mini vacay this week, come back with a game against the 49ers. Staying in the second spot are the Strouds, sneaking away with a win against the Bills and enjoying a 2-game division lead over the Colts and not having much to worry about with the other 2 teams in the division. With that lead, with their 2-0 division record and a 3-0 conference record, they are close to a 2 out of 3 mathematical bet to win the division, which is actually better odds than the undefeated Chiefs to win a division, and 8 out of 10 chances to make the playoffs. Computer says their target to aim for to win the AFC South is 9 to have a chance, with 10 being a very safe bet. They will get a good opportunity to notch another one of those wins in the Boston area this week against the Patriots. Despite losing the last 2, considering the state of the AFC right now, the Buffalo Bills get to remain in 3rd on the list. Couldn't get it done against the Texans, but no worries. The Jets lost as well, so they maintain their 1-game lead over them, as well as now the Dolphins. Their current target to take the division is 10 wins, with 9 having a respectable chance. Currently, they have a bit better than 4 out of 10 chances to win the AFC East and about 6 out of 10 to make the playoffs. They travel downstate, or I guess technically over one state, to play the Jets this week. Now, some good news for them. 9 out of their remaining 12 games are against teams that are currently below 500. We have a new leader of the AFC North for the number 4 spot, as the Ravens have technically surpassed the Steelers in the standings, riding a 3-game winning streak to overcome that 0-2 start. 1 division game under their belt, this past thrilling win over the Bengals. Even Steven 2-2 in the conference, at least for now, just the Steelers providing any competition for the division. This all adds up to about 40% to take the North and 60% to make the playoffs. Same 9 to 10 win target range for them to win the division. What should be an exciting game this week against the Commanders at home. The AFC North stablemates of the Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, come in at number 5. Also at 3-2 after losing to the Cowboys. Haven't had a division game yet. Actually don't have any in the immediate future either. 2-1 in the conference, with 2 more conference games up next, so they will be about finished with non-division conference games soon. do have head-to-head victories over the Broncos and Chargers, who are in the wild card picture as of now. So those could come in handy later. 40% to win the division, around 60 for postseason play. Get to play a trio of dysfunctional teams before their bye. Raiders, Jets, and Giants. All should be winnable, but then who knows anymore. As much as I hate to see the most overrated football coach come in next, the Denver Broncos have won 3 in a row after beating the Raiders to stay somewhat close to the Chiefs in the AFC West. That gives them a division victory and puts them at 2-1 in the conference. So around 1-4 or 5 chance to take the division, and a bit shy out of 6 out of 10 to make the playoffs. Another division game against the Chargers this week. A win would really give them separation over the rest of the AFC West and the competition to be second to the Chiefs, while a loss would put the Chargers in second place in the division. And those Chargers come in at number 7, gaining a couple spots while being on siesta. Currently around an 11% chance to win the division and a little under 50-50 to make the playoffs. Sitting at 2-2. The game against the Broncos next is huge and could determine how their season is going to go. And the Cardinals and Saints, so some potentially tough games. Next up are the New York Jets, dropping their 2nd in a row with the loss against the Vikings. Wasn't a conference game, obviously, so the damage is only to their overall record. About a quarter chance to win the division, 4 out of 10 to make the playoffs. Can improve both those numbers dramatically with a win over the not invincible Bills this week, which would vault them to first place in the AFC East. Staying in that AFC East at number 9 are the Miami Dolphins, who stayed in the picture by barely beating the Patriots. At 2-3 of even division and conference records, they have about a 1-5 chance to win the division, statistically at least, and 37% to make the playoffs. They will enjoy some beach time this week, come back next against the Colts. And speaking of the Colts, they dropped down to number 10 after losing to the Jaguars because, of course, they did. That does give them 2 losses in the division, just a 13% chance to take the AFC South now, around 1 out of 3 to make the playoffs. Have a chance to get back on track against the Titans, or they could go and add another division loss to complete the set. The Las Vegas Raiders are at number 11 after the loss to the Broncos. That was their 2nd divisional defeat, and being in the same division as the Chiefs means a mere 7% mathematical chance to take the division, and 1 out of 3 to make the playoffs. Tough game at home against the Steelers this week, and the remaining schedule is not full of pushovers. Still, if they can find a way to finish 7-5, they should be able to find themselves with a wild card. The Tennessee Titans sat back this week and drank whiskey, now finding themselves in the 12th spot at 1-3 and playing what would otherwise be a must-win game against the Colts this week. Although I'm not sure 1-4 is really all that completely out of the picture in this year's AFC. Certainly a victory would put them knee-deep in the middle of it. Anyways, currently about a 14% chance to win the division and 28% to make the playoffs. The Cleveland Browns have now lost 3 straight, and I'm not sure they're going to stop that spiral anytime soon. 1-4 and chasing 2 teams above them gives them just a 1-10 shot to win the division and around 1-5 to make the playoffs, and that's probably generous. Get a refreshed Eagles team this week in Philadelphia, so good luck with that. The Cincinnati Bengals have the same 1-4 record as the Browns, have a worse division record, albeit 0-1 versus 0-0, and a much worse conference record of 0-3 versus 1-1, and thus statistically have slightly lower odds than the Browns to win the division or make the playoffs. But I am quite sure if you ask the average fan which of these two 1-4 teams would they bet on, almost everyone would take the Bengals. They play the Giants this week, who just took out the Browns, and all of a sudden this looks like a much tougher get-right game than it did a week ago. And then the Bengals and Browns meet for the cellar, but certainly they have the opportunity to get to 3-4 and stay in the hunt. Just when we figured we could write them off, the Jacksonville Jaguars pulled off a win, and with the AFC being what it is right now, their odds aren't too shabby for a 1-4 team. Now, since all games so far have been conference ones, that does mean 1-4 in the conference as well, which is not good. So just under 1-10 to take the division and just under 1-5 to make the playoffs. They go to Soldiers Field this week to play the Bears. Probably need to finish 8-4 to make the playoffs, and that won't be an easy task, but crazier things have happened. That means we have a new inhabitant of the bottom spot, the New England Patriots. Here's your prize. Losers of 4 straight, the latest against the Dolphins. Not too much going their way, and that is unlikely to change against the Texans this week. After that, they do get the Jaguars, Jets, and Titans, and don't have the toughest remaining schedule on the planet, so it wouldn't be the biggest surprise if they creep back into the playoff picture. As of now, they have their work cut out. That is the AFC picture for now. Enjoy your day.